Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to Schreiner University. My name is Ted Davis. That's why it's called Sit Down with Ted. And today, we are going right to the top of the food chain with the president of Schreiner University, Charlie T. McCormick. And first of all, Charlie, thank you for doing this.
Delighted to be here, Ted. Thank
and
you
happy
for inviting
holidays.
me. Thank you. You too.
Merry Christmas. How do you like our new office here?
Well, I like this space very much, so I'm glad that we're being able to film this sit down here in this space today.
If people don't know, we're at the Trailhead here on the campus. It's on the west side of campus, and this is a really neat venue for a college campus to have. How did this come about, and was it here when you got here, or what's the story of that?
No, when I got here back in 2009 as provost, there were a couple of old homes over here, and they were occasionally occupied by perhaps somebody in grounds or in facilities, but for the most part unoccupied, and that did not really lend to their upkeep that well.
Yeah.
And so this was sort of a corner of campus we didn't use that much. And then the city decided they wanted to extend their river trail to this campus.
Yep.
And this was the place at which it was going to enter campus. And we decided that if the city was going to invest in us like that, then we would invest in this area of campus so that it's not just an access point, but it's a gateway and a destination spot on
Yeah, it's
campus.
a meeting place.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
When I first moved here, and before I was even hired by the university, I had people say, you got to go to the Trailhead.
Yeah.
And people in town know about this place.
They do.
And it's a great space to come out, and you've got music here quite often. You got craft beers here.
Yeah.
So you can come out and you can get an adult beverage, and you can sit out there under the oak trees.
That's right.
And if it's chilly, you've got fireplaces out there, and so I recommend it highly.
I do too. But and remember, you can also get a coffee out here.
Yeah, I got a great coffee.
I've seen the Flag is Up Theater productions performed out here. So there's really a lot for the very young all the way to the very old.
And the food truck is here.
Absolutely.
And what's it called? Being Blessed? Be Blessed?
Yes, Be Blessed.
Be Blessed is the food truck here, and they just got the #1 catering rating by the Daily Times.
I didn't see that,
Yeah.
but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
It's very good.
So the food will be good, the drink will be good, and so all right, you and I may have a confrontation coming up soon.
No,
Well, you got your master's from Texas A&M,
I
right?
did, in fact.
Okay,
Yes.
I grew up in Lubbock.
Oh,
And I don't think it's likely, because I think Tech's better than Texas A&M, but there's a possibility that Tech and A&M could meet in the championship game.
well, they could, but I will also share with you, Ted, that I grew up in Snyder, Texas. And so when I was just a kid, Texas Tech was about the closest university to Snyder. So I have some historical connection to it, even though, it's not what I consider my team.
Well, I'm not used to this rare air of Tech being in the playoffs and having a good defense, so we'll see if they can go. This university is, I think, so key to this community, and it's such a jewel that this community has here. How many years have you been president now?
So I am just now completing my 9th year as president. Hard to believe. You blink a few times and a decade's gone by. So and I was here 7.5 years before that as provost.
Okay.
So
16 years you've
16
been here.
years, that's
What's
right.
been the biggest change here in that time?
Well, there have been a lot of changes. The campus infrastructure has continued to grow. That was, we were building the Mountaineer Fitness Center and Faulkner Hall just as I arrived on campus.
Okay.
And that has really sparked an infrastructure boom that continues to this very day, trying to keep up with enrollment and the expanding needs and interest of our student body. So that's been really big. But I think some of the most important changes have been in the expansion of our academic programs. So we've really looked a lot at how do we not only have a timeless educational experience, but a timely and relevant educational experience. And if we're going to accomplish both of those things, then we have to do what we've done, which are create majors in engineering and computer science and nursing and agriculture and natural resource management and all of those sorts of aviation.
talking with Charlie McCormick, president of Schreiner. You mentioned nursing, and in preparation for this interview, I looked and I saw an article about there's a shortage of nurses, and it's going to get worse in the next 5 years.
Right.
Right now, about half of the nurses are over 50, and so they're going to be aging out. This nursing program that you have here could be key to filling those spots.
I think you're right, Ted. And remember, the challenge isn't just a lack of one particular type of nurses. It's really nurses across the industry.
Yeah.
And so we have a pathway now that can track with nurses over the arc of their professional career. So, for example, a student can get out of high school, be interested in nursing, not really be sure if they want a 4-year educational experience, and move into our licensed vocational nursing program. 1-year program, it's intense, it's accelerated, prepares you to get your VN licensure. And all of a sudden now the student says, I can do college, I've worked for a couple of years and made some money, I want to go back and get my RN. And so we have a program that will start this fall that is the RN program. And then a student can decide if they want to continue to keep going. I can do an online BSN or I can do a face-to-face BSN. And then as the nurse gets towards the end of his or her professional career and they want to perhaps turn their attention to leadership and preparing the next generation of nurses, they can come back to Schreiner once again, get a Master of Science in Nursing to really prepare them to leave that legacy.
Yeah, and your nursing program is very highly rated too.
Yes, yes.
One of the best in the country and certainly one of the best in the state.
It is, and it's very high stakes. You know, you don't earn those ratings just because you wish it to be so.
Yeah.
Every nurse has to take a licensure exam when they leave, and those are published and considered and reviewed, and that's how you earn a high ranking. We've been doing very well on that.
We're going to be talking to Carl Davis pretty soon, maybe right here at the Trailhead. And my father-in-law was a commercial airline pilot, so I have that in my background as being around it. And we used to get free flights on Continental, so we went a lot of places because of him. And so you have an aviation program here. Not many schools have that.
We don't. Candidly, Ted, if you had asked me 10 years ago, will we have an aviation program? I said never in 1,000 years.
So how did it come about?
Well, I was a reluctant agreeer to this.
Okay.
And it was probably about 10 years ago that I had a first visit in my office from some of the folks at the airport here locally who were encouraging me to consider this. And I smiled politely and said, well, thank you for your time. Yes, I will consider this, and sort of laughed under my breath.
Okay, so what changed your mind?
Over the next few weeks and months and years, I continued to get visits, and people would mail me an article that they'd read in the paper about the dearth of pilots.
Yeah, there's a shortage there too.
A real shortage. And at last I finally decided, you know, the universe is trying to tell me something here.
Yeah.
And I better pay attention or I know how it will get my attention, and it probably won't be good. And so we really began to do our due diligence on what it would take and what it would mean. We found some great partners, including the local airport here, who really saw our program as key to their own growth and development. And then, incredibly, I was visited by an alum one day who you're about to interview.
Carl Davis.
Carl Davis.
Former commercial airline pilot.
That's right, and executive with Boeing. And he told me, Charlie, I'm just about to retire and I'm going to move to Kerrville. And I said, well, I can accept the move to Kerrville piece, but I don't think you're about to retire. There may be one more act that you don't even realize yet. And to his credit, to our great blessing, Carl said, yeah, I'll come and launch that aviation program. And he's just done a wonderful job for us.
You got a football player to come here that I interviewed because of the aviation school.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have gone anywhere.
Sure.
But he said, I came here because I want to learn how to fly.
Yeah. Well, there aren't a lot of places, and there are multitude of reasons why college or university wouldn't start them. But, you know, one of the things that I learned in this process was that we have as many good flying days as almost any other geographical location in the country.
Yeah.
And that means that you can really make good progress on getting the hours you need
Right.
for all the various licensures you're going to receive over the course of your 4-year degree.
Your story of Carl Davis kind of hits home for me because that's what happened to me. I retired here and got a call from you guys one day and
That's right.
said, well, we're trying to upgrade our streaming broadcast. And I thought, well, I can do that. And
I remember that day very well, Ted.
Yeah.
And,
It's been a blessing. I've met some really great kids here. And to me, the fun part is to see these kids come in. I remember Aiden Warren as a sophomore, baseball player. Didn't play much at all. Then junior year, he's getting better. Senior year, he was all conference 2 years in a row. Hit over 400 his senior year. Hit for the cycle in a game.
Right.
And I love to see kids develop like that. You've got to feel that too, don't you?
Yeah, it's really the reason probably all of us get into higher education is that you know, we don't want to just have transactional experiences with students, but we want to be able to walk alongside them as they grow and develop as athletes, as scholars in their field, just as human beings.
Right.
And it is a great honor and blessing to get to do that work.
Camden Ross just graduated. I interviewed him every year I was here. And of course, he got better and better.
Right.
And graduated as the all-time leading scorer for Schreiner, third in the conference all-time leading rebounder in the conference, and just a nice guy.
Well, so very nice. And, you know, I love telling people that I was standing next to Camden when somebody was going to ask him, you know, what he was going to do after his Schreiner basketball career ended.
Right.
And I think they were expecting him to say, you know, I'm going to go, I'm going to try to make it into the NBA or something like that. And without missing a beat, Cam's response was, I'm going to be a dentist.
Yeah. I was shocked too, because I did the same thing. And I asked why. His mother worked in a dentist office. He got, and because of that, my dentist in town is Carol Butler.
Okay.
And he's a very good dentist.
Yeah.
And I told him about Cam. And he says, well, he can come in and shadow me.
I didn't know
so
that.
Cam
that
went
was,
in and shadowed him, and he may be the tallest dentist ever.
I suspect so.
Almost 6'8".
Yeah.
But,
He's got big hands, basketball hands.
I know.
I don't know how you
I know.
do it. But yeah, that's the sort of stuff, especially at a Division III school and a place like Schreiner. You know, our athletics programs are robust. They compete hard. But those are learning and development experiences that aren't meant to make you a very singularly focused athlete.
Yeah, these are student
That's
athletes.
exactly right.
They're not athletes who
Yeah.
maybe go to class.
And they're going to learn, they're going to take everything they've learned on the field and in the court, and they're going to apply that to all the rich experiences they'll have throughout their life.
Tell me about the Texas Center, because I just interviewed Don Frazier, and I was born and raised in Texas, and I love the history of Texas. I think it's absolutely unique, and there's a reason that we're proud of it.
Right.
We're an independent nation for 10 years, and the Alamo and everything. But he had a good point. He said, we have so many new people coming into the state that know nothing about the state.
Yeah.
That this could be a great resource to let them know what this is all about. So how did that whole thing come about?
Well, the quick history is that I heard Don talk when I was first moving back to Texas. So I grew up here, lived out of state for about 17 years, and when I came back, Don was one of the first people I heard talk, and I thought to myself at that point, wow, the things he's talking about, that would be great if we had those at Schreiner.
Yeah.
And life is complicated, and you got kids who are in high school, and you got to wait for all that sort of stuff. But Don and I stayed friends the entire time, and we in fact started an online Texas Studies minor that we had no idea if anybody would be interested or where it would go. But we said, let's just do something, which is what we did. And then there came a moment at which Don was at a place where he said, I can come to Kerrville now.
Another guy who was going to retire.
That's right.
And you reeled him back in,
That's
didn't
right.
you?
Well, I'd like to say this was me, but some things are accidental and some things are providential, and Don's arrival here was the latter. But as you said, Ted, this Texas story is so important, which is not to say it's perfect, but it's so important as a big, bold, sort of audacious story about what ordinary people can do when they believe in something and when they don't give up. And I think every one of our story, or every one of our students and everybody in this state benefits from saying, you know, that's not just somebody else's story, now that's my story.
Yeah.
And it changes the way you think about yourself when you see that you're part of that story.
Well, the man who this university is named after has quite a story.
Yeah.
Orphaned at about age 19
Right.
after immigrating from France,
Right.
the Alsace region.
Right.
So at 19, he's an orphan in a strange country.
Yeah.
He joins the Texas. He was in the Texas Rangers for a while at age 16 to 19.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be tough to do that.
Right.
And then comes out here and puts his flag in what was just the wilderness.
Yeah.
And builds this whole thing. He's the father of the hill country.
Right.
Donated the land for this university. Gave some money to help it going, and now here we are over 100 years later, and it's still here. That's a great story.
It is, and it's a story that deserves to be told more widely, and I think Don's got that on his list of things to do.
Your students here should know more about that.
Absolutely, yeah. And in fact, if we could wave a magic wand and have everything happen in just the way we wanted, you know, that would be part of our core curriculum here.
Yeah.
So keep watching.
Okay.
But you know, one of the extraordinary things to me is that Charles Schreiner was an empire building.
Yes, he was.
He did it in retail and in banking and in mohair, and you can just take it
Cattle,
all down the
everything.
list. But at the end of his life, he became less interested in empire and more interested in legacy.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to build this place. And we benefit from his vision and his guidance and his desire to do something for people in the hill country.
Yeah.
You know, he really had a vision of a hill country university.
Yeah.
And even though our population comes from well beyond the hill country, we still have fidelity to that vision.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to serve this hill country in addition to all the other things we do.
Well, it's the best part of the best state.
It is.
I call
It is.
So the university opens in 1923. Here we are in 2025.
Yeah.
Sitting in everything he built.
Yeah.
That's a cool story.
I would love to be able to walk alongside him if he could visit the campus today.
Oh, I bet he'd be. He's looking down at it. Don't you think?
He is, and you know, I think he'd be just delighted and thrilled that student success is still our first priority.
Yeah.
They cared a lot about that in the earliest days. I think he would still be delighted by the fact that whole person development is still what we're trying to accomplish here. It's not just, you know, very narrow and specialized learning, but we want you to grow spiritually and socially and physically and intellectually. And so I think there are a lot of things he would find familiar,
Yeah.
and I suspect that because he was such an innovator and entrepreneur himself, he would be delighted by some of the new things like aviation and engineering that we're doing too.
Yeah. They weren't flying back when he was here. You know,
Right.
maybe in the 20s it started, but
That's right.
not in the 1800s.
Not then, no.
Charlie McCormick, president of Schreiner, is with us on Sit Down with Ted. I often wondered about this about myself. If I hadn't gotten into broadcasting and if my voice hadn't come along, what would I have been? And honestly, I don't know. I don't know that I had a second choice. If you hadn't gotten into education, what would you have done? Do you have any idea? Did you have a backup plan?
Well, I don't know if I had a backup plan, but when I started all of this journey, and you know, I grew up in Snyder. My family had a family business there,
Yeah.
and because I had uncles and cousins who worked in it, I guess I always thought I'll work with them.
Yeah.
And at one point, my dad pulled me to the side and said, you know, I don't know if this place will be here forever. You need to go to
Yeah.
college and figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And it was good advice. And I originally thought, I think I'm going to be an architect.
Okay.
And I can't tell you why, other than I thought it would be very
Fun to build buildings.
glamorous to build skyscrapers and
Be the next
design
I.M.
them.
Pei or something.
Exactly. And then I took a few drafting classes and realized, oh, well, maybe I had misunderstood what all this is. So very early on, you know, I got involved in literature and though I didn't know exactly where that was leading me, I knew I loved it and I was curious about it. And though my mom and dad did not understand why in the world I was going to be an English major, to their credit, you know, they never said don't do that.
Yeah.
They always told me either directly or indirectly, If you're passionate about that and curious, it's going to turn out okay. Just dig in.
Where did the interest in female bullfighters come?
Yeah, so
That's a really narrow field of expertise.
It is. So I was interested in literature, and then I was thinking about going to graduate school, and I had a professor that I was talking to about that, and I'm not even exactly sure why I said this, and I'm a little embarrassed by it now, but you know, I told him, man, I wish I'd grown up in a place that was much more literate, because I felt like I'm having to read all of this stuff to sort of catch up with my classmates. And he looked at me like I had two heads, and he said, Charlie, you grew up in a place that was very literate. They just told stories instead of writing them down. And Ted, that was like an epiphanal moment for me.
So that your interest in folklore came from that
That's
too,
exactly the moment at which that was created.
Yeah.
And then I began to study, you know, the ways in which people perform stories, tell stories, live lives that are worth storytelling, like the female bullfighters.
Patricia McCormick, she had your last name.
She did.
Not related.
Well, I tried to find a connection, and we never could.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what got me interested.
And she became famous, didn't she?
She was. She was a pretty famous bullfighter, actually featured in Sports Illustrated for several issues. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and got gored a few times?
In fact, was given last rites down in Tijuana when she was gored. They did not think she was going to make it, but she did. Lived to fight again.
My goodness.
It's a story worth telling.
See, there it is. There's another story. What is folklore? Is Loch Ness Monster, is that folklore? Does that what qualifies as folklore?
Yeah, so a lot of things qualifies as folklore. I like to tell my biologist friends that if they studied Bigfoot, it would be a tremendous waste of time and money, but it's perfectly appropriate for me to do so.
Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan would fall in?
Yeah, anything that's traditional, that is you know, part of our common cultural consciousness is a lot of folklore. A lot of people think it's insignificant, it's not important. But the more time I have spent in its study, the more I've realized in lots of ways that's the most important stuff. It tells us more about ourselves and who we want to be and don't want to be and who we might be than some of the best pieces of literature.
So I'm looking online, and you were part of a book, or what was that? Was it a? Yeah.
So I've you know, I've sort of done the traditional scholar stuff, but I bet what you're thinking about is encyclopedia, 3-volume encyclopedia series that I did on folklore.
Okay, I saw that online.
It was.
And you can buy it on Amazon, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I saw it on Amazon. I did.
Yeah, that may be the case. A big project. I had never done something like an encyclopedia before, and of course, you know, that's a lot of working with colleagues across the nation to make sure they get their submissions submitted to the book too. So.
Well, we're about out of time, but thank you, Charlie McCormick.
Well, thank you, Ted. It's been a great delight, and you know, any chance I get to talk about this most extraordinary and special place, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Ted.
All right, Charlie McCormick, president of Schreiner University. I'm Ted Davis. We'll see you next time on Sit Down with Ted.